Hey, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Ruach HaKodash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace, love, salutations, and blessings to the house of David, which is the Lord's elect. And just want to go into the news real quick concerning Turkey, all right, which is a prophetic, figure, okay? They have a prophetic role when it comes to the third woe, all right, especially because of their geopolitical stance, as it is right now. However, as we're seeing, they're, shifting toward Russia, right, which when you read in the scriptures speaks about how, for one, there will be certain countries that are a part of the beast, which is known as NATO, all right, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, which will turn on the whore, which is Babylon the Great. And it says, I hate the whore and shoot her and burn her with flesh. All right, Salakia, burn her flesh with fire. Okay, and also in the book of Ezekiel, the 30th chapter, it speaks about certain countries that will band together with Gog and Magog, which is today known as Russia. So in this first article here, this is coming from Yahoo News. It says 2 U.S. Marines assaulted in Turkey by nationalist mob chanting "Go Yankee, go home." Okay, and for reasons of violence or whatever, YouTube try to give you a strike. I'm not going to actually play the video, but I'll just read the article. It says 2 U.S. Marines were assaulted by a group of young nationalists in Turkey on Monday. Officials in both countries said one attacker placed a bag over the head of one service member. The dramatic incident in the western port city of Izmir was captured on video, which was geolocated by NBC News. It shows the moment 2 Marines were surrounded by a group of 15 people in a commercial area who were chanting "Yankee, go home." So here it is. You have a U.S. Marine, right, which is supposed to be somebody that is, respected. Okay, well, that's the idea that America has, right? They feel as though that they are, respected worldwide. But as we are seeing, more and more as Babylon is falling, that Babylonians, Americans are not as liked as they would like for you to believe over here in America, right? They're not liked throughout the world, okay? And it's ultimately because of what? Because of its ill dealings, right? As it says in the book of Isaiah, the 14th chapter, there were he that ruled, he that ruled, basically, let me get it because I'm about to butcher it. So let me pull it up real quick. Isaiah 14, verse, I believe it's around 6. Yep. It says, he who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke, he who ruled the nations in anger is persecuted and none hindereth. Okay. And that's why you have situations like this that are happening in a place like Turkey, which is supposed to be an allied country to America, where the people there, are, looking at the U.S. Marines, right, which is a part of the military of America, as, being scumbags, which they are, because as we just read, they rule the people in wrath, right? They have a continual stroke, and that continual stroke isn't necessarily physical, but they do it through really monetarily, right? Sanctioning a country because they don't, want to follow what America says to do, right? They want to sanction sovereign countries because they want to booster their economy by working with, Russia or Iran or Syria, right? And America, basically, because they have currently the world currency, the US dollar, they use that, they weaponize the dollar against, enemy countries and even their own allied countries. All right, which is only causing these countries to move further and further away from, the dollar, right? I was reading an article earlier today, and it said that there's about 54 nations that are basically are going to be at the Brics summit. I forgot exactly when it's supposed to be taking place, but 54 nations are going to this Brics summit. And speaking of the Brics summit, the Brics rather, you have a lot of nations that are looking to become official members of the Brics, right? Which is a economic conglomerate of countries that all have the same mindset to move away from using the dollar, de-dollarizing, which is ultimately going to cause a higher inflation here in America, because once countries around the world, right, stop using the dollars, to do trading, those dollars have to circulate back to its original country, which is America. And when you have too many dollars and not enough, people to consume things, or not enough supply of things that need to be consumed with those dollars, that's when you have inflation, or hyperinflation take place. So let's read on. It says, the group then restrained one Marine before one of them placed a bag over his head. Moments later, another man can be seen charging the group. None of the service members are in uniform. Other Marines intervened. No one was injured, the Navy said in a statement. The service members later returned to their ship, the USS Wasp. It said, okay, let's see. So it says local authorities later identified the group as members of a Turkish Youth Union, or TGB, which is affiliated with the Patriotic Party, a small nationalist political party without parliament seats. So it says the statement added that the 15 alleged attackers were caught and detained by local security forces. It said 5 plainclothed U.S. service members were watching from a distance and were involved in the incident in some way. An account on X purporting to represent the TGB said on Monday, "We put sacks on the U.S. soldiers serving on the largest attack ship of the USS Wasp. U.S. soldiers who carried the blood of our soldiers and thousands of Palestinians on their hands cannot dirty our country. Every time you step into these lands, we will welcome you as you deserve." You see that? So that's the mindset, right? That's the mindset of, these other countries and the people of these other countries. They don't want Babylon, right? Babylon the Great, America. They don't want their, services, right? They don't want their military over there. They don't want them to be involved, in their country. All right. And that goes to show you that America respect their hegemony, their stain, right, throughout the world is being, decreased. All right. The shameful spewing is upon its glory. Because before, it was a time where people welcomed the U.S. military into their countries. But now, right, people are literally grabbing them up, putting bags over there, punching them with no regard, right? With no regard. So let's go from here, and then let's get this other article, which goes into, like I mentioned, the Brics. And it says, Turkey applies to be first NATO member to join Russia's G7 rival. Turkey has become the first NATO member to formally apply to join the Brics group of emerging markets nations led by Russia and China. The move is a sign of Ankara's frustration with the West over long-delayed negotiations to join the EU, which have stalled for years after beginning in 2005, and support for 48ers' war in Gaza. Despite being part of the U.S.-dominated military alliance, Ankara has not joined Western sanctions imposed on the Kremlin for Vladimir Putin's illegal invasion of Ukraine. Instead, Erdogan, the Turkish president, has carved out a mediation role between Russia and Ukraine, playing a crucial role in negotiations over grain shipments from Black Sea ports and the recent prisoner swap between Moscow and Washington. Turkey can become a strong, prosperous, prestigious, and effective country if it improves its relation with the West and with the East and the West simultaneously, he said in Istanbul at the weekend. Mr. Erdogan, who has repeatedly criticized U.S. support for 48ers' war on Hamas, and that's the thing, right? Although Turkey is a part of NATO, Turkey does not support and really is an enemy to the 48ers, which America is the 48ers' biggest supporter. So here you have two countries that are supposed to be allied, right? Turkey and America, but they both have different viewpoints on the 48ers, which, once again, America is the 48ers' biggest allies, right? Even bigger than the NATO countries. All right. America gives billions of dollars to the 48ers yearly. You see? But Turkey looks at them as a terroristic group. So that's going to put a strain. And as we just read, Turkey hasn't been allowed to enter into the EU, which has caused a frustration. So that's putting a strain on their relationship with America. See, Turkey doesn't, although, as we just read, like they haven't been allowed in the EU, Turkey doesn't often showcase a lot of frustration and a lot of disdain toward other EU countries. But the main country that they show disdain toward is America. And why is that? Because this is part of the Lord's plan, okay? And every time I mention Turkey, I always, have to mention that they have the largest standing army outside of America in the NATO, okay? Their army is bigger than France, Germany's, Great Britain, all of the NATO countries that are and that are part of the EU. Turkey has a larger standing military than all of those countries. So the fact that they're getting more cozy up, the fact that they're looking to join the BRICS, that conglomerate of nations does not bode well, right? America does not look at the BRICS as somebody that they could, be friends with. Because, and I'm speaking economically, because what the BRICS is doing is going to have a direct negative effect on the American economy, right? An American position to be to basically use their economy, use their money to push their agendas. So if you now have a country that is a part of your military alliance that are trying to align themselves economically with your enemy, how is that going to, what kind of mindset is that going to put you in? You see? Because as we always say, all wars are bankers' wars, right? All wars really start because of money. So it says, on the contrary, we have to develop our relations with both these and other organizations on a win-win basis. Any method other than this will not benefit Turkey, but will harm it. The BRICS rivals the U.S.-led G7 group of rich nations on the world stage. It is named after Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, but the United Arab Emirates, Ethiopia, and Egypt joined earlier this year. Russia and China, both thorns in NATO's side, you see that, have no limits alliance, which has deepened since Moscow was ostracized by the West. Turkey's application will be discussed at the BRICS meeting in Russia in October. The Kremlin welcomed reports of Ankara's desire to join in June, but the balancing act is likely to strain relations with the U.S. and other NATO members. You see? This is going to strain relations, and this is all a buildup to the Lord's final, judgment, which is going to bring forth the destruction of Babylon the Great, because all of these strains and these frustrations and the going from one side to the other, all of that is going while you still have war happening, right? So this is not like this is happening separately outside of the war. The war between Russia and NATO, which, Russia is already saying that we're fighting against NATO. They're just using Ukraine soldiers. That's already in the mix. That's already taken place. So if you got a physical war happening, and then on top of that, you have this economic war happening between the Brics and America, and their dominant stance, trying to keep their dominant stance. You have all of the ingredients of a global war taking place right now, and countries are choosing sides, whether they're not saying it overtly. The fact that you have a lot of these countries that are trying to side economically with Russia, right, and China and Iran, because Iran is a part of the BRICS, that goes to show you where they will be, right, what side they're going to be on if this when this war gets, global, because they're going to be on a side where they feel as though economically they're going to come out on top, because it's all about your country's economy. That's what gives a country, its power, right? Yes, of course, the military, but these countries already have a military. What they're fighting about now is economy, right? Land, okay, the ability to booster up their economy through trading, and all these countries want to do that outside of America's power. Okay. It says sources told Bloomberg that the Turkish government thinks that, listen to this, the Turkish government thinks the geopolitical center of gravity is moving away from the most developed countries, aka America. You see? So it's moving away from the most developed countries. Sinan, a former diplomat and head of the Istanbul-based think tank EDEM, told Newsweek it was a strategy to strengthen relations with the non-Western powers at a time when the U.S. hegemony is waning. Okay? The U.S. hegemony is waning. And all of these countries see that. All right? It's only these simple, dumb, docile Babylonians that don't see that America's hegemony is waning. And it's really a lot of Jakes, okay? Because Esau, these Edomites, they see it. That's why they're complaining so much. That's why Esau's always is so gung-ho about making America great again, right? You talk to these regular Joe Schmo Edomites, especially like the older ones, they see how their country economically is not faring so well. And how do you see that? Because why things are becoming more expensive. Okay? Food, shelter, right? Utilities, all these things are becoming more expensive, and that is a sign that your economy is not doing so well. And that's why it says at a time where non-Western powers, at a time when the U.S. hegemony is waning. The bilateral relationship with the U.S. has also been problematic, he said. Okay? So right there is another key. The bilateral relationship between Turkey and Russia is also problematic. So let's get this here in the book of Revelation, and we'll just close it out. Actually, you know what? Let me get this in Obadiah first. Obadiah 1 verse 7. It says, all the men of thy confederacy, which means your allies, have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread, right? These countries, for a certain time, the reason why these countries joined the NATO, because it was beneficial for them to be a part of the NATO, right? Turkey joined the NATO because they saw that it was been, knowing that it was being led by America, because they saw at that time that it was beneficial to be on the side of America, because America would, as it says in Revelation, the kings of the earth ate deliciously, with thee, right? They got rich off of America, doing business with America. You see? But that time came and it went. The triumphing of the wicked was only for a moment. So they ate the bread, right, of the whore. They ate the bread, gotten successful, right, doing dealings with America. But as we read in Isaiah the 14th chapter, it was ruling with a continual stroke, right? And it got to a point where now these countries have been mad, as it says in Jeremiah. The nations have drunken of your wine, therefore the nations are mad. So they're no longer living deliciously with America. They're no longer having, this viewpoint that America is great. No, they're saying that America is waning. It's a sinking ship. So we got to hop off of this ship, this economic ship, and we got to go over here where Brics is at. That's the new and up and coming thing. Okay? It says, they that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. Okay? So they don't even, these Babylonians, they don't even see it, man. Hell, even the ruler of America, Biden, he don't even understand it. These officials can't even really see how bad it really is, man. Okay? And if they can, they're just lying to the people. But when you got people like Biden, Kamala Harris, who's just a dumb dodo bird, and then Trump, who's just a self-centered, entertainer, none of them actually really understand the mindset that these countries really have when it comes to America. And as the scripture says, as a king or as a ruler, or so are the people. And that's why a lot of these Americans here, these Babylonians, are still clueless when it comes to the world view of America. People don't really realize, right, that the world doesn't really F with America like that. And that's why what happened over there in Turkey with those U.S. Marines happened. Okay? So, that's pretty much it. I had quoted, Revelation 17 chapter, that the beast is going to hate the whore. All right. Ezekiel, the 38th chapter, speaks about the house of Togarmah, right? Is going to band together with Gog and Magog, which is Turkey banding together with Russia to basically come up against Babylon the Great and the 48ers. So all these things are in the mix right now, and these news pieces are just more proof of that. So Lord willing, this was edifying unto the elect. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Shalom.